In this lesson, we're going to be going over creating a simple minimap. Now, this minimap won't require UI or scripting, but it is a very simple way to create a minimap. So in our next lesson, we're going to be going over creating a UI-based minimap, but in this lesson, we're just going to be creating a basic minimap using a camera. So to get started, we are going to be in the lesson 7 start. Let's start off by creating a simple camera. So go to Game Object, Camera, and switch back to our scene view. So we have our separate camera here. We also have a camera on our character. So with the separate camera, let's just move this in a position, move this up above the level. And then you want to rotate this so it's looking down directly at our level. So 90 degrees in the x-axis. Move this up slightly. Now the first thing that we want to do with our camera is we want to set the projection from perspective down to orthographic. Now it's going to move this up and maybe adjust the size as well. So for the size, I'm going to go with 24. And then if you move this down slightly, you want to keep moving it down until you see kind of the edges of the level light up. There we go. Next, we're going to be adjusting the viewport rect, but we want to be in the game window to see this. Switch back to the game window. So this is what our minimap camera is currently looking at. We have this little gray area right here. We are going to be adjusting that in a moment, but first let's adjust the width and the height along with the position of where this minimap is going to be displayed on our camera. So first off, let's adjust the width. Just drag this down. Let's adjust the height as well. And then for the X and Y axis, you can actually move this left or right. Maybe adjust the width a bit more. And this is a very tedious process. You can type in numbers here as well, but I like to use the slider values here. All right, so something like that would be good. Now we want to change the clear flag from skybox down to depth only. This will allow us to see just the level itself along with everything else. All right, so we have our minimap set up. Now we need to go in and set up our icons for our characters. So we don't want to display the dummy characters here, the trigger or the player character. We want to replace those with spheres, which are going to be kind of like icons for these different objects. Let's jump back into our scene view, and we're going to jump into our scene right here, and let's just create a couple of spheres. So go to Game Object, 3D Object, Sphere, and we're going to be placing these near the dummy characters. So right where the head is at, that's where we want to place the sphere. Now we want these spheres to be red. If you open up the materials folder, you'll find the minimap icons material. Just drag that over into the inspector panel, and you can see it turns red. And we're going to be duplicating this for all of the enemy characters. So Command D to duplicate. Now that we have all of our enemy spheres set up, we're going to be setting these up as a group. So let's go and click on one of these spheres. Rename it to enemy marker. And then move all the other spheres underneath that enemy marker. So select the one down here. Select all three up here as well. And just drag it underneath the enemy marker. Now, if you select enemy marker, you should see all the other spheres light up as well, meaning that those are all selected. Now, we need to create a sphere for our player character as well. So let's go up to Game Object, 3D Object, Sphere. And this time we want to make sure that this is a child object of the player itself. Now for this player marker, I'm going to be using a different material. So I have a materials folder and we have a player icon material. Just drag that over into the inspector panel. It's just going to be a simple green color. Now let's move this sphere underneath the moving rig and let's rename it to icon. All right, so we have all of our enemy markers along with the player icon. And now we need to move these all underneath a new layer. So let's go into the layer section. So that's going to be in the inspector panel in the top right. Open up the layer default. Add layer. Now we're going to be creating two different layers. We're going to be creating one for our level and one for the icons. So level and then icons. Now select all these spheres. So I'm going to select enemy marker, which is then going to select all the spheres underneath it. Change the layer to icons. Yes, change children. Click on the player icon as well. And once again, icons. Now for the level, that's going to be this level right here, which contains the walls right here along with this ramp. We're going to be changing that to level as well. And the reason why we're doing that is because we want to be able to display that level using our player character along with the minimap camera. So let's change the layer to level. Yes, change children. Now we need to take a look at the cameras as well. Go down into the camera. So this is going to be the minimap camera. And we're going to be changing the culling mask from everything down to just level and icons. So I'll select nothing first, then level and icons. Now all we're seeing in our minimap camera are the icons that we created along with the minimap level. We also need to go into our first person character so we no longer see the icons with that camera. So click on the first person character camera, go into the culling mask and change it from everything and just deselect the icons. We still want to display the level, but we don't want to display the icons. So if you take a look at the camera preview, the icons are now gone. So now we need to take a look at our game view. You'll see that our minimap camera is not being displayed. That's because we need to change the depth of that camera. So let's go back in here. Let's go and close some of these up in here. So let's go down to our camera, which is the minimap camera. We can just rename this now, minimap. So the player camera is being displayed first. We're not actually seeing the minimap camera quite yet because we need to set the depth for that camera up to 1. So it's going to be displayed first above the other camera. So change it to 1 and there we go. All right, so let's give this a quick test. Hit play. And you can see the green icon follows our character around because it is a child object. If we walk up to this enemy character, you can see the red icon appears there as well. Same thing for this guy. So this is a very simple way to create a minimap in Unity. In our next lesson, we're going to be going over creating a UI-based minimap.